Hi, I'm Liz Bailey and I'm a clinical psychologist working in Manchester's Looked After Children's CAMS team. This training video is for carers of children in local authority care, and the video talks through PACE, which stands for Playfulness, Acceptance, Curiosity and Empathy.
I'm firstly going to talk about what is PACE, what is playfulness, acceptance, curiosity and empathy. So PACE is a way of being and engaging with a child. The idea was developed by Dan Hughes, who is a clinical psychologist in America, and it is particularly useful for building or maintaining relationships with children who have had difficult early life experiences. So, for example, children who have had early trauma. PACE focuses on the relationship rather than the behaviour. And PACE is a way that can help the caregiver remain emotionally engaged, attuned with, and available to the young person. And as a result of this, the young person is more likely to feel safer and better connected to the caregiver. PACE and shame. PACE is particularly useful for children who experience a lot of shame. As people know, shame is a very, very painful emotion, and it's a lot more painful than guilt. Children who have experienced a lot of difficult early relational trauma can have high levels of shame. They might feel that they're just bad or that they're not good enough. They are unable to separate their behaviour from their sense of self, and they believe that they are the mistake rather than that they have made a mistake. When children who have had difficult early life experiences are disciplined, this often triggers their overwhelming and pervasive sense of shame. They feel very bad about themselves, and this can often result in them engaging in certain behaviours as a way of protecting themselves from this powerful feeling of shame. They may blame others. It's your fault. It's not my fault. You made me do it. They may minimise behaviours. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't that bad. It may be that they display rage. You always blame me. I hate you. I hate myself. Or it may be that they lie. I didn't do it. These are ways of protecting them. When PACE is used at these times, it can help reduce the child's shame, and it can help the child feel better about themselves. And we'll now go on to thinking about the different components of PACE and how each of them is helpful for the child. The P of PACE stands for playfulness. Playfulness brings fun and laughter into a relationship. The reciprocal excitement and enjoyment can help the young person regulate their emotions. Both people enjoying and engaging in something playful together is very positive and helpful for the child in this aspect. Playfulness allows some closeness, but without being too intimate in a threatening way. It's a light-hearted way of engaging the child in some closeness. Playfulness increases the sense of safety and acceptance whilst reducing shame and fear. Playfulness also conveys a sense of optimism for the future, conveys the message that things can be different and things are going to be okay. And playfulness helps the child feel special. It improves self-esteem and it reduces levels of shame. Playfulness can take many forms. For example, smiling at the child, being playful with them, delighting in your child and communicating this to them, playing games after school, offering a quick, spontaneous hug or a ruffle of their hair, a pat on their shoulder, or high fives. Things like dancing in the kitchen or singing together, and using a playful tone of voice. Playfulness allows the young person to experience their own ability to light you up and to be lit up by you as well, and this is essential for strengthening your relationship. It is important to find ways of being playful that rest comfortably with the child. Many children who have experienced adverse life experiences might struggle with certain levels of playfulness, but these can be built on as the relationship develops. We're going to do an activity now. What I would like you to do is spend a few minutes thinking about how playful you are with your young person. Think about what they like and think about how you could increase this. So if you want to pause this training video for a few minutes while you reflect on this, please. Thank you. Hopefully this exercise was helpful to you in thinking about how you could increase your levels of playfulness with the child that you are caring for. Now we're going to move on to think about the A of PACE, which is acceptance. Acceptance is about accepting the inner life of the young person, so how you think they feel inside. It's about mindfully accepting the young person's feelings as they are. They are not right or wrong, they just are. Acceptance is not the same as agreement. It is important that acceptance doesn't involve judgments, so not using oughts and shoulds and musts or needs to. Judgments can be saved for behaviours where we have to put boundaries in place. Acceptance is all about accepting the young person's feelings for what they are experiencing. Acceptance creates psychological safety for the child. Someone understands how things are for them and someone is connected to them, and this will help reduce their levels of shame. This in turn facilitates what we call co-regulation of the young person's emotions. So the adult is helping the child regulate their emotions together, as the young person may struggle to do this on their own. Acceptance also helps the young person build trust in the caregiver, so that they see that somebody understands them or is trying to understand them and is connecting with them. When thinking about acceptance, it can be focused on lots of different aspects. It can focus on the child's thoughts, their feelings, their wishes, intentions, their memories, their perceptions, and their values. Some examples are presented here. I can see you think I'm being really unfair. That's really important to you. You really don't like that. I know you wanted to go out and are disappointed. These all show that you understand how the child is experiencing that situation. We're now moving on to thinking about acceptance with the child that you're caring for. I'd like you to spend a few minutes thinking about the child who you look after. Think about their early experiences. How do you think they see the world? How do they see themselves? And how do they see others? Do you think they see themselves as a positive, lovable child? Or do you think that they experience high levels of shame and think that they are bad or not special? Do they see other people as safe and trustworthy, or are they frightened of adults? Can you link this to their behaviour? So why do you think they reacted in a certain way in a situation? How did they experience the situation? As mentioned previously, acceptance is about accepting how that child has experienced the situation. It might not align with our own feelings, but it's important to convey that you understand and accept that they are the child's feelings. Hopefully, this has helped you think about how your child experiences the world, and this is something that you can keep in mind when you notice difficult behaviours that they might display or unusual behaviours that you can't make sense of. Moving on, we're now thinking about the C in PACE, which is curiosity. Curiosity is a non-judgmental effort to understand another person and to make sense of their way of seeing the world. Behaviours may not necessarily make sense to us, and curiosity can help us understand them, and our curiosity can then help the child understand their feelings. It is important to include their history and story of their life when using curiosity. Think about the experiences they've had and why this behaviour might have arisen, what their feelings, perceptions and beliefs are that may have led to a certain behaviour. Curiosity creates an ethos of not knowing. It's not suggesting that you are an expert, but it's helping the child make sense of what has happened for them and you're doing it with them. Through your curiosity, the young person's own curiosity about their inner world can be stimulated. Curiosity involves a concept called mind-mindedness. This is about putting your mind in the mind of the child and seeing the world through their eyes. Curiosity involves making tentative guesses as to what the young person may be feeling and how they see the world. And through doing this, together you can co-construct a meaning of what's happened. You're developing a new understanding of the situation, and this leads to a deeper acceptance of the other and strengthens the relationship. For example, through using curiosity, you might discover with the child that they emptied all the bottles of shower gel and shampoo in the bathroom because they are feeling really cross with you that you were looking after them rather than their birth parents. Curiosity is equally important for positive emotions and behaviours, as well as focusing on more challenging and difficult behaviours and negative emotions. Curiosity is really important in opening up the relationship rather than shutting it down. And it is very important that the carers can maintain curiosity in the face of the child's shield against shame, that they can still use curiosity despite the child presenting with some challenging behaviours. Some examples of curiosity are presented on this slide. For example, I wonder if you thought I didn't care. You look disappointed. I'm guessing that was a really tiring walk for you. I wonder what it's like when I'm on the phone and I can't play with you. I'm wondering if I'm expecting a bit too much at the moment. I think you're so worried about whether your mum is okay. The important thing with curiosity is that we are not expecting the child to have an answer. It's about presenting thoughts and ideas to the child to help them make sense of what's happening and help you make sense of it too. It is also very important not to use why questions. Children often freeze if they're asked why, and often they don't know. Curiosity is about helping explore with the child. Finally, we're going to think about the E in PACE, which stands for empathy. Empathy is the ability to share someone else's feelings or experiences by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. And I'm going to play a fantastic clip by Brené Brown on empathy now, and here's the YouTube address if anyone wants to watch it again.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with "at least." And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Hopefully, this video has helped differentiate between what is empathy and what is sympathy. Empathy helps children feel their feelings. It's about feeling with the child, not just feeling for them, and that is sympathy. Empathy can be verbal in terms of what you say to the child, but also it can be non-verbal. For example, your eye contact, your facial expressions, your gesture, your tone of voice. Empathy communicates that feelings are understood and they are manageable. Empathy is very important in deepening and strengthening relationships, and it's very powerful. Children will not be able to empathise with others until they have had repeated experiences of someone being more empathic with them. So the more remorseless a young person is, the more they need your empathy. Unfortunately, if children have had difficult early experiences where they have experienced relational trauma, they may not have had as much empathy as they need to help them develop their own skills. This is why empathy is so important in your caregiving role. Children with autism, though, have an inherent difficulty within empathy, but it is still needed to help you build your relationship with the child, so it's still important to use empathy and PACE with children who have autism. Some examples of empathic comments are included on this slide. For example, that makes me feel sad too. I hadn't realised how hard it was for you. It does seem unfair. No wonder you got cross with me. That's just brilliant news. Once again, empathy can be used for negative and difficult emotions as well as positive emotions. I'm going to play a video now and a clip from Inside Out film from 2015. This clip demonstrates the use of empathy. It shows that the second character uses a much more empathic stance with the upset character, and this helps them open up and have a conversation about how the person is feeling.
No, you can't take my rocket to the ducks! Riley and I are going to the moon! Riley can't be done with me.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. We can fix this. We just need to get back to headquarters. Which way to the train station?
I had a whole trip planned for us.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster. Hey, Bing Bong, look at this. Oh, here's a fun game. You point to the train station and we all go there. Won't that be fun? Come on, let's go to the train station.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone. Forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all I had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time. We had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
It sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah, it's sad.
I'm okay now.
Hopefully you were able to see the difference that using empathy and acceptance made in terms of helping the upset character open up. It is important to use PACE in your caregiving role with children who have experienced difficult and adverse life experiences. PACE can also be used when you are disciplining a child and having to give and set boundaries. We talk about the caregiving sandwich in terms of how to use PACE with discipline. Ongoing PACE before, during, and after discipline will allow the child to continue to feel understood, accepted, and unconditionally cared for, and this will also help lower their levels of shame. In the middle of the sandwich is the filling, which is discipline. It's important to remain calm, warm, and sympathetic, but being very clear about the boundaries, so what is and what isn't allowed, and also about the consequences. So, for example, if you do this, then this will happen. It is important to stay calm and avoid anger when giving discipline. But before and after discipline, it's important to use PACE. Using PACE to start with uses empathy to build on the emotional connection with the child so that you can resonate with what the child is feeling and show that you know they're going to be upset with the consequences or why the incident has happened. But after you have told them the consequences or been clear about the boundaries, it's very important to get in with more PACE again, which will help repair the relationship. It's about helping the child know that they are still loved and cared for despite the behaviour that has just happened, that the relationship is stronger than this episode, that you can get over this and things are going to be okay again. Thank you for listening to this training video on PACE. If you want any further details about it, please do not hesitate to contact me on the phone number or email address on this slide, or also talk to your key worker within the CAMSLAC team. Thank you.